Richard I of England, famously known as Richard the Lionheart, was one of the most legendary figures of the medieval period. He was a warrior king, a crusader, and a complex ruler whose reign was marked by military prowess and relentless ambition. Despite spending little time in England, his legacy as a fearless and chivalrous leader endures in history. Early life and background. Richard was born on September 8, 1157, at Beaumont Palace in Oxford, England. He was the third son of King Henry II of England and Eleanor of Aquitaine, one of the most powerful women of the Middle Ages. His mother had once been Queen of France before marrying Henry, and she brought immense influence and wealth from her vast territories in southwestern France. Despite being born in England, Richard's primary language was French, and he spent much of his youth in his mother's lands in Aquitaine and Poitou. From an early age, he showed exceptional military talent and a deep appreciation for poetry and chivalry. His relationship with his father, however, was turbulent, as Henry II's desire to maintain control over his sons led to conflicts within the family. Rebellion against Henry II. Richard's first major political involvement came in 1173, when he joined his brothers Henry the Young King and Geoffrey, Duke of Brittany, in rebellion against their father. Encouraged by their mother, Eleanor of Aquitaine, the brothers sought greater control over their inheritances. The rebellion ultimately failed, and Richard was forced to submit to his father. However, he was later forgiven, and Henry II allowed him to rule Aquitaine. As Duke of Aquitaine, Richard faced numerous revolts from his vassals. He responded with brutal military campaigns, earning a reputation for being both ruthless and skilled in battle. His leadership abilities and strategic mind made him one of the most formidable military commanders of his time. By 1183, his elder brother Henry had died, making Richard the heir to the English throne. However, his father preferred his youngest son, John Lackland, which led to further conflicts. In 1189, Richard allied with King Philip II of France against his father. Henry II was forced to submit, and he died shortly afterward, making Richard King of England on July 6, 1189. The Third Crusade, 1189–1192. Richard's reign began with his preparation for the Third Crusade, a military expedition aimed at reclaiming Jerusalem from Saladin, the Sultan of Egypt and Syria. To fund the campaign, Richard heavily taxed his subjects and sold official positions. In 1190, he set out on his journey with King Philip II of France, but tensions between the two leaders soon arose. Capture of Cyprus. During his voyage to the Holy Land, Richard's fleet was caught in a storm, and his sister, Joan of Sicily, was taken captive by the ruler of Cyprus, Isaac Komnenos. Richard responded with an invasion, quickly conquering Cyprus in 1191. This conquest provided him with a crucial supply base for the crusade. The Siege of Acre. Richard arrived in the Holy Land in June 1191, where he played a pivotal role in capturing the city of Acre from Muslim forces. After the victory, he ordered the execution of over 2,700 prisoners, including women and children, when Saladin delayed ransom payments. This act was both a display of brutality and a strategic move to intimidate his enemies. Battle of Arsuf and Stalemate. Richard won a decisive victory against Saladin at the Battle of Arsuf in September 1191, showcasing his tactical brilliance. However, despite his military successes, he failed to recapture Jerusalem. After months of negotiations, he signed the Treaty of Jaffa in 1192, which allowed Christians access to the Holy City but left it under Muslim control. Return to England and imprisonment. On his journey back to England, Richard was captured in December 1192 by Leopold V, Duke of Austria, whom Richard had insulted during the crusade. He was later handed over to the Holy Roman Emperor, Henry VI, who held him for ransom. England was forced to pay an enormous sum of 150,000 marks, equivalent to billions today, to secure his release in 1194. Later reign and death. Upon returning to England, Richard spent little time governing, as he was more focused on reclaiming lands in France that had been taken by King Philip II. He fought a series of battles in Normandy and Aquitaine, reinforcing his reputation as a brilliant but reckless warrior. On March 25, 1199, while besieging Calas-Chabrol Castle, Richard was struck by a crossbow bolt. The wound became infected, and he died on April 6, 1199, at the age of 41. His last words are said to have been a forgiveness of his killer, a young boy named Bertrand de Gordon. Richard was buried at Fontevraud Abbey in France, near his father, Henry II, and mother, Eleanor of Aquitaine. Legacy. Despite ruling England for nearly 10 years, Richard spent only 6 months in his kingdom. He is remembered more for his military campaigns than for his governance. His chivalric image made him a legend in both English and French history. Though he left England financially strained due to the costs of his wars, his fearless leadership and battlefield successes earned him a lasting place in history.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel.